Yeah. Start pushing a little too hard.
Yeah, I've never been in any class like that. I'm not the biggest people person. That's why I started working out when I was in high school, so I could throw the ball straight, so the gym was always empty, so I was going there. But I've never, been in like hay class. I've never done that.
Well, the good thing about yoga class is no one talks. So even though you're around those people, there's no interaction. It's just, you kind of feel each other, and it's kind of cool because you push each other a little bit without communicating. But I'm a big fan of it, man. I think as far as like increasing your longevity of your body, the use of your body, it seems to me that what it does is kind of forge all the connections between your joints and your body and your core. It just makes everything better.
Right.
Like I don't have nearly as much back pain as I used to. I'm more flexible than I have been in years. I've been like a year and a half, maybe almost 2 years, really into it.
And how many days a week do you go?
I try to do 3. I usually wind
That's
up
a lot.
1. I usually wind up 1 or 2, but I try for 3. When I can get 3 in, I do it. But between that and all the other different kinds of workouts, like it really, what I like to do is I like to wake up and decide what I'm going to do when I wake up. And some days I'm like, I want to go kickbox, I want to go to jiu-jitsu, I want to lift weights, I want to go to yoga.
That's cool.
Yeah. I just, like we were talking about before the podcast started, what I'm trying to do with my life at this point, almost 50, 49 and 50 in August, is to have as few obligations as possible and as much passion and interest as possible.
Yeah.
Just sort of pursue the things that I'm really enjoying.
That keeps you ageless. I just have met so many people, by 23, they're kind of retired. And then you meet some 75-year-old guy who just run rings around you. It's all in your head and the choices you make. And I've seen both ends of that spectrum. The old guy is like younger than you'll ever be, and the young guy is just like so boring and so, he turned into his dad or something. Like, damn, man, who got to you?
Well, what I take fuel from is like things like your podcast with Ari, because I was listening to you talk all about the adventures that you've had and the travel and man, I was listening to that. I was like, I love this. I love that. You know what's telling you to do this? This isn't a fucking cubicle job.
Oh no,
you're just deciding.
Starting, yeah.
Yeah, you're just deciding to do this.
Realizing the most gratifying thing in my life, consistently, is coming up with an idea, where it goes from the cerebral to the physical. Like, I'm going to write this book. Okay, 3 years from now, I'm still going to be working on this thing. It's a long journey, so here we go. Or I'm going to get to this country. Or I'm going to get back to this country and coming through that way. And you just make these plans. And then months later, boom, there you are. Like, I was in Thailand making a documentary years ago, and I was reading in the Herald Tribune at breakfast one morning. I was in Chiang Mai, that the following year was going to be the 25th anniversary of the Bhopal disaster in Bhopal, India, when Union Carbide India Limited, the methyl isocyanate tank exploded, killed a bunch of people. I said, I'm going to be there for the 25th anniversary. So I took an entire year and researched, and I was there for the 25th anniversary. I was in the march. I snuck onto the Union Carbide India Limited site. I found the exact panel where Tank 610 blew up. I found the switch. I went all the way to where I was standing in front of it with a tag on the thing that says MIC, methyl isocyanate, I think that's it. That was the gas that hit the water and blew up. They're making bug spray there. And so I went all the way to, like, here is where the guy was flicking the switch going, oh no, the gas scrubbers, the neutralizers aren't working. And I was sneaking around, like armed guards. I'm not going to shoot you, but they'll tell you, they'll kick you off. And so I just make these decisions, and then ultimately you're booking the tickets, you're booking the hotel, and then one day you are crawling through the weeds, avoiding security guys on their motor scooters with your camera, sneaking in and out of buildings, getting your shots. I mean, I love to take these things from, like, sitting in a coffee place going, oh, to, like, wow, here I am in Laos, in Ziang Quing at the Plain of Jars. It's a place I've always wanted to go to. I saw it in the documentary. And then 2 years later, I'm at the Plain of Jars.
And you're writing about all this stuff,
oh,
too,
yeah,
right? Like, so this is a thing. You're taking photographs and you're writing, like, some blog entries?
Yeah, I write for the LA Weekly once a week. I write for Rolling Stone Australia once a month. And then I've written about 27 books, and they're in translation.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah. I own the company, so I sleep with the owner every night. And so a lot of my books are travel. I do like 2 years of journal at a time. And the middle section's photographs. I'm working on my second photo book. My first one came out. And the second one's going to be pretty cool, because it's all my North Korea shots. That'll be crazy.
Oh, wow. You went to North Korea?
Yeah, it took 2 years to get that visa. A few years ago. It was just sad.
Was it when Kim Jong-il was still alive?
It was Kim Jong-il, yeah. The last days of Kim Jong-il, before Kim Jong-un.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it was just, like when I was in Iran, just like they point you at what you're supposed to look at,
Right.
don't look over here. It's a propaganda tool.
How much time did you spend there?
About a week. I was in Pyongyang and the areas around Pyongyang, and then I went there via Beijing, and then from there up to Mongolia, then over to Bhutan.
What was North Korea like?
Just sad, just poor people who are scared of their government. And my tour guides, since I went there alone, they were very suspicious of me. So they put 2 tour spies on me. The nice one who talked to me, and the mean one who just scowled and took notes. And every day, the guy would ask me basically the same questions, like when a detective was trying to peel the layers of onion skin off. So, you said you're a businessman. I'm like, yeah. They're like, so what do you do? I edit books, which is true. Mine. And they said, really? What are the books about? I said, well, often... You and the Dutch tourists and the Australians, everyone's in the one hotel across the bridge that's with men with rifles. You're not going anywhere. And so every day they go on their buses and I get in the car. And the Australians recognize me, the Brits recognize me, and they all want photos. And we were walking to the, whatever that room is, the room where the North and South meet. Where they come in through the northern door, the southern door, is that blue room, the DSJ. I'll come up with the JSA, the Joint Security Area, something like that. I pulled one of the Australians to the side. I said, can you please call your friends off me, because my tour spy is starting to ask me really weird questions about why people want their photo with me, and if I'm caught being in movies, writing books, rock and roll, I'm going downtown for a meeting that I might not get out of. And so he cooled out all his Australian friends. But then there's this one British guy who just kept getting in my face with the camera, because you're all getting taken to the same places. And I'll never forget this. My tour guide, who for the previous 3 days was like, his English was from school. Henry, he went from that to, how does this guy know you? And all of a sudden his English was as good as mine. I'm like, oh no. And I'm not good at lying. So I said, I met him in the breakfast room. I don't know, maybe it's hot for me. I was trying to explain it away. And I just had to kind of go, I don't know. And I had to try and avoid this guy. And I was really nervous. The last day I was there, when they finally took me back to the airport in Beijing, I'm like, damn, man, am I really getting on this plane? And when the plane took off, man, I did that.
But why wouldn't you just say, I'm a musician,
Because I won't let you in.
Perform?
I went on a tourist visa, and if you claim any of that, you're going to get tons of scrutiny, and they're not going to let you in.
They won't let you in if you're an artist?
Absolutely, absolutely not. Because they fear it. They fear what you go back to the mainland with. Same thing in Iran.
So because you're a public person, they don't want you. But how the fuck did they let the basketball player? What the fuck?
Rodman.
Yeah, how did
because
they
he
let
told
him
the party line. And just told Obama, just call Kim. Sure, that'll work out great. And same thing when I was I went to Tehran via Dubai, and the guy who met me at the airport, after the airport people got done grilling me, he said, look, I got your visa. I know who you are. I'm not your tour guide. He's a government guy. Don't tell him what you do for a living. I'll never get you out of here. So the last day, the last day I'm in that country, I'm eating dinner with this guy and his amazing wife. They're both like rocket scientists, and they get by with a website that gets visas done. So his cousin, her cousin Anusha, the woman, her cousin calls her and says, "Your friend Henry's on TV," and Ahmed dropped his fork and said, "We've got to go. We have to get you to your hotel. You got to pack up right now. We just go to the airport, check in, check your luggage, find a corner, put your face in it, and wait for the flight." And I got to the airport like 4 hours early, because he said, you got to go. Whoa. And so I just sat there in the airport with my face down, and then eventually got on the 3 a.m. to Dubai.